my last video, I discussed the concept of the faithful and discreet slave and questioned whether there was really any basis for applying the faithful and discreet slave concept to the WatchTower society today. And I mentioned that I was going to discuss the concept of the governing body and discuss whether the governing body is a Bible teaching. So the WatchTower claims that in the first century there was a governing body. It was the 12 apostles and later on Paul and some of the other elders that were in Jerusalem. And these, as the society claims, were a governing body. But let's think about this for a moment. What I would like you to do is to put the term governing body into your WatchTower CD-ROM browser. So I'd like you to see if the words governing body appear in the Bible at all. Once you do that, you will find, as I did also, that the term governing body does not appear in the Bible at all. The society makes continuous claims that the first century governing body did this. Paul was a member of the first century governing body. Unfortunately, the term governing body doesn't appear a single time in the Bible. So if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you believe in the governing body, why do you believe in it? Is it a term that appears in the Bible at all? Well, once again, the argument I might get is, oh, it's implied in the Bible because there was a group of older men who were directing the work. But let's look at the term governing body that's used today and see what its history is. When did it begin to be used? We know that Russell used to believe that he was the faithful and discreet slave himself, so the term governing body did not exist back in Russell's time. The term governing body in modern times in the history of Jehovah's Witnesses, as admitted by the WatchTower magazine, began in the year 1944. In the year 1944, the society began to describe the board of directors of the WatchTower Society, a 7-member board of directors, as the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. However, the president of the WatchTower Society was still the person who was spearheading the work, and the 7-member board of directors was part of the legal corporation known as the WatchTower Bible and Tract Society. So before the year 1944, there was no governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. So from the time of Jesus until 1944, there is no such thing as a governing body. When the society retroactively calls a group of men organizing the work as a governing body, they are rewriting history because that term does not appear in the Bible.
Working. Affirmative.
So the society admits that before 1944, the term governing body was not in use. But from 1944 to 1971, anyone who was on the board of directors of the WatchTower Society was automatically the governing body. Now, in 1971, this was cleared up because the question came about, well, how can people who are of the other sheep elect the governing body? Because the board of directors of the WatchTower Society is actually composed of people who are democratically elected. Yes, democratically elected. Now, while the WatchTower Society does not encourage voting among its members, the WatchTower Society is composed of about 500 long-time Jehovah's Witnesses. These long-time elite Jehovah's Witnesses participate every year in the annual meeting of the WatchTower Society. And in this annual meeting, they decide by vote who will be members of the WatchTower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania, who will form the board of directors and who will be its president. Up until 1971, membership in the board of directors automatically meant membership in the governing body. Since the society realized that this was not appropriate, in 1971 they enlarged the governing body to 18 members. Of these included Ray Franz, as well as several others who later on were involved with homosexuality. This enlarged governing body was now considered to be separate from the WatchTower Society's board of directors. But let's think about this for a moment. Where does the term governing body come from? If the term governing body is not a biblical term, what is it? Where does it come from? Actually, if you look up the term governing body on Wikipedia or if you Google it, you will find that the term governing body merely applies to the board of directors of any organization. The board of directors of Ford Motor Company is called the governing body. The board of directors of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is called the governing body of the Krishna organization. So the term governing body can be used for any non-profit organization that has a board of directors or a for-profit organization that has a board of directors. That is the legal term governing body. Now, if it's a legal term, why is the society using a legal term and saying that that legal term is biblical? Well, it's striking that the society has criticized the Catholic Church for having included many worldly terms that have been sanctified by inclusion to the church. The society ridicules this, but at the same time, the society has sanctified into the WatchTower organization a term that is merely a legal term referring to a board of directors of an organization. Now, since you and I agree the term governing body does not appear in the Bible, do we really want to put our faith in men? Even though the society would like you to think that the term governing body is a theocratic term, it's merely a legal one. The fact that the term governing body does not appear in the Bible should make you wonder and think, why are they using a term that's not in the Bible at all? Is it so that they can abuse their power, abuse their influence? Well, you need to decide for yourself. The Bible itself does say, "Do not put your trust in nobles, nor in the son of earthling man." I rest my case.